This is a little light box I knocked up on a request from a friend. So it's a briefcase. Inside we have a solar panel. It can also be charged up from just a normal plug, 12-volt charger. It goes into a charging station and a battery. And then we have our plug socket here, which is two 12-volt car plugs. So this, I think of this as the only real universal charger, or the universal socket rather. So I do disconnect the battery at the minute because I'm still want to do a bit more testing on it. 3 lights I have wired up. There's a little strip light. I have a grid light as well. And one of these flexible LED lights as well, which is blue. So the idea is that something like this size could quite easily light a room, so that you could have a meeting there, you could study and everything else. So one challenge for third world countries is that their days are 12 hours more effectively of light and 12 hours of darkness. Then, so it's primarily intended for places that are off-grid, and often places you're off-grid suffer from poverty. The only true route out of poverty, I often say, is education. So the best way to educate yourself, well, you need light to educate yourself, to read, and this provides the opportunity to light your house relatively cheaply. So the other alternative for light is often kerosene. Kerosene is expensive, and also it damages air quality as well. Also in this little charger distributor, you have 2 USB ports. And the reason for the USB ports would be for charging phones, potentially computers, Raspberry Pis, so given access to IT. So in the third world, mobile phones, as much as anything, have changed and improved life in a way that was never really expected or anticipated. But that's the way these things work out sometimes. So a quick rundown of the components. This is a 10-watt solar panel. A 20-watt would be ideal, and it could be mounted in some way, such as, well, there's not enough weight. Oh, there we go. So something like that, some sort of rigged up in some way that could be placed even outside while the box is inside, and that would then charge the battery. You could, of course, just as I've done, take all the components out of this and then rig it up as a solar panel, and then you have a well, it's a cheap enough briefcase, but you know, a briefcase to do with what you wish, as you wish. So if you're making this yourself, you know, just got one of these chargers or one of these controllers. So it tells you what. I mean, it's really easy to wire up. So your plus and minus from your solar panel. That's also in parallel with my 240-volt charger, or mains charger. So it doesn't really matter if it's 110 or 240. And it's nice whenever everything can disconnect. Then of course this one just connects straight to the battery. A 12-volt deep cycle sealed lead battery, I think it's gel. So you can see 12-volt, 7 amp hours. And then finally you've got from your charge distributor, you've got the light bulb, which runs to our plugs. So it's easy enough to order these 12-volt lights. I ordered these connectors separately, and yeah, so it's just very easy to use. Then it's quite nice having this little on-off switch on the plug itself. So let's see how much light we get off this. So that would be my room relatively dark. There's no light coming in through the window particularly, and my lights are off. This is just purely lighting coming from those two sources. I would like to hook it up to an ammeter to see how much current it's drawing and then get an estimate of how long the battery should last. But ideally, you're talking maybe 3 to 4 hours on 3 to 4 hours to entirely light a room to an acceptable Western standard. And then moving down from that, if you just want to work at an individual desk, say with something like this. I don't know why that's so finicky. There we go. So if you were to read, then something small like that would make your life much easier. So you could study. Something like light such as that should last 8 to 10 hours. And the design spec I was given was that I should be able to create this for the prototype for under £100. So it came in at around about £100, maybe 110, 120. And ideally, if it was scaled up, you would want to be able to sell it for about £40 or so. And similarly, the idea is for shipping as well. So a simple box like a briefcase, which is mass produced, relatively cheap and relatively sturdy, then you can ship everything in it in one go. And then of course, whenever it arrives, there's a certain utility to the people as well, whenever they receive all the different items. One little point I put in to keep this a relatively flexible design is I used Velcro. So things like the battery, Velcro on the back of the battery, Velcro in the box, and then you can just place it in, stick it down, and then the battery will just stay in place relatively well. So far it hasn't moved around too much. So, but yeah, it just gives you a flexibility in design and layout. And then of course, if people want to change things, they can. Customer always knows himself better than you do. It is of course important to leave these things in such a way as they are safe. So for instance, disconnecting the battery, and obviously I'd like to put an inline switch there just to make that easy and quick. Finished.